we are hopeful that in the budget we will not see a major hit on the diesel vehicles. Overall use of diesel fuel for private diesel vehicle consumption is less than 2%, and that's proven without any doubt. And therefore the whole argument that by doing so we are somehow taking care of the loss because of diesel subsidy doesn't really hold water.
Presented by the stylish new Xylo.
ये है उभरता हुआ भारत, इसकी गारंटी कौन लेता है? हजारों गाड़ियों का वजन, सुरक्षा की गारंटी।
JK Lakshmi Cement, मजबूती guaranteed.
Welcome back. I've been trying to understand how the budget that will be presented on March 16th will affect consumers. Future Group Chairman Kishore Biyani has been breaking that down for us. Let's take a look now at how demand for consumer durables will be impacted by this year's budget. Excise duties are expected to be hiked across a host of categories, and consumer durables are no exception. Nikita Rana reports.
2011 was one of the worst years for the 35,000 crore rupee consumer durables and appliances industry. Sales dipped, raw material costs shot up, and market leaders like LG and Samsung increased prices. For the first time in a decade, air conditioner sales dipped by 19%, and washing machines and refrigerators, which generally see a 10 to 15% volume growth every year, grew at a 7 to 9% rate.
Frankly speaking, if you ask me, it's been one of our poor years in the last 1 decade, I would say. The primary reason being everybody was at loss. Because the prices had shot up drastically. Starting from the year itself, beginning of the year, the raw material cost went up sharply. Then in between, the dollars was fluctuating a lot, and when the dollar reached the peak of 52, I think nobody could sustain. So if you'll see, even the brands have bled this year, and retailers have also not been able to make much profits.
If excise duty remains flat at 10%, then that would be a big relief. If it goes up, I think we are concerned. The second thing is your import duties. There's high import content in appliances, and all of it comes from China. If you look at the duty rates, it varies from 5% to 10%. For example, steel is at 5, chemicals at 7.5, finished goods at 10. So I don't see any relief coming on that front as well.
The government had reduced excise duty on consumer durables, home appliances and electronics progressively from 14% to 12% to 10% between 2008 and 2010. Last year the industry was relieved because the finance minister didn't roll back the cut. But this year the fiscal stimulus may be rolled back.
This year's budget, the request to FM would be, look at if you can, products like fridge. It's a food saving device. It's not a luxury item. You can put excise depending on the capacity of the fridge, but try and reduce the excise duty. I read it in papers 2 weeks back that he's looking at changing the excise duty and make it higher. He should encourage consumption and not decrease consumption because of the high taxes. And second thing is GST. We desperately need GST because the end consumer is going to be benefited.
In the meantime, a few retailers and manufacturers are trying to fuel demand with pre-budget offers. But most say these are really just to create some buzz around the category, and these offers stopped having a big impact on sales a long time ago.
Mobiles का value ये budget, अगला budget हर साल mobiles का value reduce होने का ही है. ये मोबाइल कंपनीज को भी मैं एडवाइस दे रहे हैं, रिड्यूस करने को बता दीजिए. इट इज़ पब्लिक का वेरी नेसेसरी मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़.
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स वाले जो जितना मैन्युफैक्चरर्स है वो पुराना को ऑब्सोलेट कर देता है. बोलते ये नहीं चलता है, अभी ये चलेगा. पहले LCD, अभी बोलते हैं LED. तो क्या चक्कर चल रहा है, कोई दरकार क्या है?
We feel that the rates are likely to go up. That's why we thought, and there are good schemes. That's the main thing.
Mr. Biyani, my first question is: we do see this pre-budget offer, buy before the budget. Does that really, do consumers really bite that offer, or is it just some effort to create excitement?
I think February, March are traditionally weaker months. Yeah. So the idea is to pick up and generate some sales. And always budget, there has been some talk of prices going up, irrespective of the hike in excise duty, because air conditioners and because of a lot of input prices have gone up, the dollar prices have gone up. I think so the prices are bound to go up this season. So there is a scheme which we are also promoting and others are also promoting.
Sure. Are there takers for that scheme? Do consumers, advance their purchases because of this?
They do. In fact, a lot of people buy a lot of consumer durables during the month of March because of tax benefits which they can get as per the financial year ending.
Consumer durables is supposed to have seen its worst year in the past decade. Do you see budget excise hikes making it more difficult going forward, or will it be around, will it be what we saw last year?
But there are many factors which have affected the consumer durables industry. One has been the rise in commodity prices, the dollar exchange rate, and local cost inputs which has gone up, provided. And secondly, I think one of the categories didn't do well at all, which was air conditioners, because I think the weather pattern played there a lot, and we didn't have a very strong summer last year. So, and many factors came in together. I think it's a combination of factors which affects the industry, and this is a very important industry for India, because it makes your life little better, you live little better, with your refrigerator, with your washing machines, with your air conditioners. And this is one category which has to grow double digits, or 20%, 25% plus. I think that's the hallmark of a growing economy, consumer durables industry. I somehow believe that everything should be done to support this industry, to make people buy and live better.
In the last budget, we know that there was a 10% excise duty levied on branded apparel, and I remember you talking to us at that point saying that it's almost like being penalized for the industry growing robustly and for managing to create brands in which there's so much value. At that time you had also said that there might be, the industry had said that there might be a 7,000 crore rupee loss as a result. What was the past year like in regard to branded apparel?
I think like consumer durable industry, the fashion industry also saw a steep decline, rather virtually no volume growth, decline of growth. And the prices went up because again multiple factors. The cotton prices were higher, input costs became higher, and the excise duty came about. And secondly, the consumers were not willing to pay that extra price. When consumers became smart, they knew the sales are going to come about and will buy during sales. And the industry suffered a lot. Secondly, I think the entire value chain is not taxed. This tax should be coming in when GST comes in. So it creates a level playing field for everyone. Everybody moved out of branding the garments, and the whole industry changed. And I think the government also could, a lot of people moved out of making brands, the small manufacturers and all. So again, the level playing field got disturbed.
You mentioned GST. So far in the show, two other people have mentioned GST. Now this is something that is not a budget declaration. This is something that has to be implemented and is stuck now for several years because the states and their role in the whole, in the whole matter. Now the question is that really going to be something that helps consumers?
Absolutely, because GST creates a level playing field. You will get the best of goods at the best of prices, and all your input tax which you have paid, you get an output credit on that. So I think that will be the biggest beneficiary for free movement of goods and for consumer getting the choice and much better prices.
All right, Mr. Biyani, I think it's time to check how the auto industry is going to be impacted by the union budget, because really that is the big ticket consumption item on the list of most families. But we're going to do it after this commercial break. So stay with us. We'll be right back.